The microphone slipped from Ellen's hand mid-sentence. For 12 seconds, America's most beloved talk show host stood completely silent on her own stage, while 400 audience members held their breath. The cameras kept rolling, but this wasn't television anymore. This was the moment when a 78-year-old retired nurse named Margaret Chen taught Ellen DeGeneres what courage really looks like. It was supposed to be just another Tuesday afternoon taping. The Ellen DeGeneres show was in full swing, the familiar blue stage gleaming under studio lights, audience energy electric as always. Ellen, radiant in her signature blazer, was interviewing Grammy winner Billie Eilish about her latest album when everything changed. The conversation was flowing perfectly. Ellen's natural warmth drew out Billie's shy smile as they discussed music, mental health, and finding joy in dark times. The audience laughed at Ellen's gentle teasing about Billie's oversized clothes. Everything was going exactly as planned, until it wasn't. "Mental health is so important," Billie was saying, her green hair catching the studio lights. "Especially for young people who feel like they don't matter, like nobody sees them." That's when a voice from the audience cut through the conversation. "Excuse me, Ellen." The voice was quiet, but carried a weight that made everyone in the studio turn. Ellen paused mid-nod, her eyebrows raising slightly as she shielded her eyes from the stage lights, trying to locate the source. "I'm sorry," Ellen said with her trademark grace. "Did someone say something?" In the third row, a small Asian woman in her late 70s slowly stood up. She wore a simple navy cardigan and clutched a folded piece of paper in her weathered hands. Her name was Margaret Chen, though Ellen didn't know it yet. "Ellen," Margaret said, her voice stronger now, "I need to tell you something." The studio fell into that peculiar silence that only happens when hundreds of people sense something important is about to unfold. Ellen's production team whispered frantically into their headsets, but Ellen raised her hand slightly, signaling them to wait. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Ellen asked, her voice automatically gentle. Margaret Chen. I'm a retired nurse from San Francisco, and I've been watching your show for 15 years. Ellen smiled that warm smile that had made her America's daytime darling. 15 years? That's almost from the beginning. Thank you, Margaret. But Margaret wasn't finished. She unfolded the paper in her hands with the careful precision of someone who had done important things with those hands for decades. Ellen, 3 months ago, I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4. The doctors gave me 6 months. The studio went completely silent. Billie Eilish, sitting in the guest chair, brought her hand to her mouth. Ellen's smile didn't disappear, but something shifted in her eyes. Margaret, Ellen said softly. I'm not telling you this for sympathy, Margaret continued, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was sharing. I'm telling you because for 45 years I worked in pediatric oncology. I held children as they took their last breaths. I comforted parents who lost everything. And through all of it, there was one thing that kept me going. She looked directly at Ellen, and in that moment, the entire studio understood they were witnessing something profound. Your show, Ellen. Every day after my hardest shifts, I would come home and watch you dance, watch you be kind to people, watch you remind the world that goodness still exists. You saved me more times than you'll ever know. Ellen's composure cracked. Not the polished crack of a television professional, but the real, human crack of someone whose heart was breaking open. Margaret, Ellen whispered, stepping down from the stage. This was unprecedented. Ellen never left the stage during interviews. But protocol meant nothing now. Ellen walked directly to Margaret's row, and the audience members shifted to create a path. When she reached the elderly nurse, Ellen didn't hesitate. She wrapped Margaret in the kind of hug that says everything words cannot. The cameras captured it all, but this wasn't performance. This was pure human connection. "You don't save me," Ellen said, her voice thick with emotion. "People like you, who spend their lives caring for others, who find hope in the darkest places. You're the ones who save all of us." Margaret pulled back slightly, tears streaming down her face. "I wanted to thank you in person. Before—" "Hey," Ellen interrupted gently. "We're not talking about before. We're talking about right now. And right now you're here, and I'm here. And you just reminded me why I do what I do." Ellen turned to address the studio audience, but she kept one hand on Margaret's shoulder. "This is Margaret Chen," Ellen announced. "For 45 years, she spent her days taking care of the sickest children in San Francisco. She held families together when everything was falling apart. And she says I saved her? Margaret, you're the hero in this room." The audience erupted, but it wasn't typical applause. It was the kind of recognition that comes from deep respect, from understanding that they were in the presence of someone truly extraordinary. Ellen reached into her blazer pocket and pulled out something small, her personal business card. "Margaret, this has my personal number on it, not my assistant's number. Mine. I want you to call me, not because I'm Ellen from TV, but because you deserve to know that your life, your work, your courage matters to someone." But Ellen wasn't done. She began removing her blazer, the same powder blue blazer that had become her signature. "This blazer," Ellen said, draping it carefully around Margaret's small shoulders, "has been with me for some of my best shows. It's been there when I've tried to spread kindness, when I've tried to make people laugh, when I've tried to remind the world that love wins. Now it's yours, because you've been spreading kindness longer than I've been alive." Margaret stood there, drowning in Ellen's blazer, but somehow she looked stronger, not smaller. "Thank you," Margaret whispered, "for seeing me." Ellen knelt down beside Margaret's seat, taking her hands. "Margaret, I have a question for you. In all your years of nursing, what's the most important thing you learned about living?" Margaret thought for a moment, then smiled through her tears. "That we're all just here to take care of each other. Nothing else matters as much as making sure nobody feels alone." The studio was completely silent, except for the soft sound of people crying. Ellen stood up and faced the cameras directly. "Ladies and gentlemen, Margaret Chen just gave us the meaning of life in one sentence. We're here to take care of each other. That's it. That's the whole job." She turned back to Margaret. "And you know what? You're not done taking care of people. You're going to keep fighting, and we're going to fight with you." 6 months later, Margaret Chen was not only still alive, she was thriving. The experimental treatment program Ellen had quietly connected her with had worked beyond anyone's expectations. Margaret became a regular guest on the show, not as a patient, but as a wisdom keeper, sharing the insights that 45 years of caring for others had given her. The blazer became a symbol. Ellen started a tradition of giving her blazer to audience members who embodied extraordinary kindness. They called it Margaret's Blazer, and recipients knew they were joining a community of people committed to taking care of each other. Margaret Chen taught Ellen that sometimes the most powerful moments happen not when you're trying to entertain, but when you're brave enough to simply witness someone's truth. And Ellen learned that her real job wasn't to make people laugh, though laughter mattered. Her real job was to create moments where people could see each other's humanity and choose to respond with love. Because in the end, that's all any of us are here to do. Make sure nobody feels alone.